Hey, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and today's project is for the Elizabeth Craft Designs Designers Challenge for April 2018 using the Scissor Spring Mechanism, which is what you see with the flower there on the inside of the card. But to start off with, I have this embossed piece of 85-pound white soft finish cardstock. I've embossed it with the Bouquet embossing folder, and I'm using the deboss side, and I am going to cover this with Glitter Kiss. Now, Glitter Kiss is kind of a glitter paste. It's new-ish, came out in January, and you apply it with this sponge applicator. Now the sponge applicator you need to prep first, so you need to kind of rinse it with some soapy water and get that all out, and then rinse most of the water out, but leave it slightly damp. And you don't want any soap in it either. Slightly damp, not real damp, okay? Just trust me. And then you're going to cover the applicator with a really thin coat of the glitter paste. So kind of build up like a little bit of a ramp on the inside of the jar to run the applicator across, and then just keep scraping it off and scraping it off, scraping it off. Make sure you have no lumps or bumps on the applicator. It's just a very sheer layer. And then you're going to run it very light-handedly across the embossed paper left to right, and don't cross over any areas that you've already spread it onto, because it will just pick it right up. Like, you don't want to keep going over the same line over and over again, because it's just going to pull it off. That's why you need to turn the page 90 degrees to apply a second layer. So that's why you keep turning the paper 90 degrees and going across it over and over again to gradually start building up a layer. It is a slow process, and you do need to be pretty patient. As you can see, not a lot gets laid down initially. You have to build it up over time. So I did sort of 4 turns and 4 coverages of the embossing with the Antique Rose, which is that pink color. And then this is Golden Sand. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. The cool part is you can just go right over the pink that's still wet, and I'm not going to cross-contaminate my glitter jars. I'm not sure why that is, but for some reason the binder that is holding the glitter in place, which is kind of sticky and liquidy, just keeps the colors from cross-contaminating. And the effect is really cool because it modifies both colors, and you get kind of a cool highs and lows effect with the different colors. So I've gone over the page again 4 times with the gold, and now I'm going to do it again with the Antique Rose. And you can see how slowly the color is starting to build up and that pattern is coming forward. It does take some patience, and it is sticky, and the paper does get a little bit wet and a little bit warped. So just bear with it, because the effect in the end is really cool. And I've sped it up really fast, so obviously you should not be going that quickly. And I'm kind of going into areas now where it didn't quite catch as much to try to fill in. That can be a little tough to do. You don't want to get too much that gets stuck in the non-raised areas. But it did turn out pretty cool. And this actually looks really good on black paper, which you'll see here in a second. Now, so that's the completed panel. I wanted to show you that's a very closely packed pattern. This is a more open pattern, and it does stick on the open areas and shows a lot on white, but in the black, not so much. It does do the same thing in the black, but you don't notice it as much. And look at how pretty it is on the black paper. And I think most of the examples are on black paper in like the demos that you see on like YouTube and stuff. Now I'm also going to make a solid piece of the Antique Rose on just some plain 85-pound white soft finish cardstock. Now you'll see on the one edge I already had some dried Glitter Kiss on there, so that's why it's catching on that dried part and just getting and coating really a lot on the one side and not on the other. And you'll see how it does take a while to build up a large enough coat. And it did, so I think I went over this 5 times total. So that means turning it basically 20 times. So, each time 4 times. So it was a total of 20. That's a lot. But the cool thing is that it is a totally color coordinated page that I'm going to die cut out of. Now you do want to pop those tops down. They kind of snap down to keep them airtight. And then you just rinse them the next time you're going to use them again and start over. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to stamp some stamps on some 85-pound white soft finish cardstock. These are from the Color My Flowers stamp set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. And I'm using some Gina K Designs Innocent Pink, which is kind of a medium pink, kind of color coordinates sort of with what I've got going on the glitter. And I'm going to add some accents. So I'm going to pull out my pink and silver glitter dots and add those to the centers of the flowers, so 2 different sizes. And then the bigger flower has a little bit of circles around the center that I'm going to fill in with my Nuvo Drops in Honey Gold that kind of coordinated with the gold colored glitter kiss I used. And I will eventually die cut these out with the matching dies, although I am going to have to wait for that Nuvo Drops to dry. In the meantime, I'm coloring over the little detail lines in the petals on the large flower with my Copic RV19 marker, which is like a dark pink that again color coordinates with that pink glitter kiss color nicely. So you can see I've got a color theme going here that I'm trying to continue throughout. Now here's our stars, the Scissor Spring Mechanism. You can see it comes in 3 different sizes. I've cut out the middle size and it cuts out these 2 strips. And this is a little bit odd. I would definitely keep your packaging for the photo on the front. That's definitely helpful. But you just fold along the scored lines back and forth until the entire thing is folded up. Now you're going to probably have to change the direction of your folds, but I think doing it first to get them trained is a good idea. And then along the mechanism, there are these slits that have been cut in each piece. And so what you do is you fit the slits together to bring the 2 pieces together, like so. And you're going to want the folds to kind of match the picture on the front. They kind of create diamond shapes as they are connected together. So you might have to change, like I'm having to change the way these were folded initially, especially here, to fold out away from each other. And then to bring the slits together. And on the medium sized one, there are 3 slits. There might be 3 on all of them. I'm not sure. But it actually makes a pretty sturdy mechanism. I cut this out of 100-pound white soft finish cardstock just to make sure it was pretty heavy duty because it is very foldy and it's going to be used over and over again, like springing up and down. So there you can see that's the completed mechanism once it's together. At least the slits are all together. And it looks like so. And then I'm going to take some 3mm adhesive and just run that across the bottoms on each end to hold it together. And that's going to double as the adhesive that's going to hold it in place on the card and hold the flower onto it that's going to spring out of the card. Now, if you don't have tape for this, there is a piece in that die that will do the same thing. It'll cut it out of paper, and so you could just use the paper to hold it together, a little paper piece, and then use liquid glue or something. But you can see how it's springy, and it's pretty cool. Now I've trimmed down the embossed panel to 4 by 5 1/4, and it's going on this A2 size 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of Dusky Lavender soft finish cardstock. That heart is die cut out using the 3rd largest die in the Stitched Hearts die set. It's going on an A2 size top folding card base. That's out of 100-pound white soft finish cardstock. I die cut my words, Happy Mother's Day out of Words 3 Happy Holidays die set, and then You're Amazing out of the Words 2 Thinking of You die set. And that's out of that solid piece of glitter paper that we created back towards the beginning, and you can see how nicely they color coordinate. Then I cut those leaves out of the Trio of Leaves die set, and I'm going to just layer this all together. So I'm using 10mm clear double-sided adhesive tape to tape the Dusky Lavender piece down to the front of the card base. Then I'm going to adhere the embossed panel in the center of that on top. I'm not sure you can tell how glittery it is yet, but you will see a good detail shot at the end. It's super, super shiny and fun. Then I'm going to adhere the stitched heart in the middle. Oh, and I did want to mention that dragonfly that you see there on the right. That is from the Modescrap Dragonflies die set, and I just colored the body with some emerald green Spectrum Noir sparkle marker that coordinated nicely with my green accent color that I've got going here as the leaves. Now you can see I've cut apart the leaves. I'm not going to use them as branches. I'm going to actually use them as leaves on the flowers. And I'm going to adhere my words down using my Zig to a glue pen to just hold that in place and in the center of the heart. And you can see how nicely because I cut those out of that glitter paper that I created, how nicely they color coordinate with the background. Hey! And they're super sparkly too. It's really fun. Okay, and now I'm going to fold my wings up on my dragonfly just by holding the body and then in place and then folding the wings back a little bit. I'm going to adhere this down in the wrong place initially, so don't look at that too closely. I'm going to use a little tape on the back of the flower because that'll hold the leaves on just in case that liquid glue doesn't stay for some reason. And now I'm going to move my dragonfly so that it's facing in towards the center, which is, hey, that's always a good design trick, is to have your elements point in towards your focal point. Always a good move. Now, of course, I've been having camera difficulties lately, and my camera failed again, so I lost all of the attaching the flower to the Scissor Spring Mechanism. But I wanted to show you I stuck it in the center of the flower, and that those leaves that I added to the flower, I very purposely spaced out evenly around the flower. So they're like kind of a third of the way around the flower, so that when I adhere this down and use that spring mechanism, it's going to work. If I had put, say, 2 on one side and 1 on the other, the flower would be too heavy on one side, and when it sprang up, it would just fall over. So that's something to bear in mind when you're using these mechanisms. Now, you can always go to the larger size mechanism, which would hold a heavier object, but I thought it was kind of fun to just space out the leaves evenly so that the spring mechanism would work nicely. And that's the completed project. And look at how cute that spring mechanism is. Like, it's so fun. Oh, and there's the glitter too. So glitter and pop-up-y action is really fun. So I love that scissor spring. It's kind of like a action wobbler, sort of. You could put it anywhere on the inside of the card or the outside of the card that you want. I like that you're not limited to like just the middle like you are with pop-ups. And it's also a die set, so you can make them over and over and over again. It's not a consumable that you have to purchase and then use and then you're out of. So I think that's a really, really fun thing about that die set. So hopefully I've inspired you a little bit today to try out that scissor spring mechanism. Super fun, as well as maybe a little bit of glitter kiss, because that's an interesting and very sparkly new glitter product. Here are 2 more projects I've done in the past for Elizabeth Craft Designs challenges, so check those out. Supplies are linked in the video description and over my blog. As always, if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done that yet. Thanks so much. Have a great day.